So what's in for this time, this session of my lunch break? Math. Lots of math. Seems like I got to 18 on my last video. So 19 it is. Hopefully I didn't skip one. So 19 and 20 are supposed to be done using the technique of completing the square. The 4 is going to go over here. I'm just going to do this step by step for y'all. We're going to divide out our 2. Everything gets divided by 2. Otherwise you're not being fair. X squared minus 4x is now negative 2. You might be thinking, oh no, imaginary solutions. It doesn't have imaginary solutions. In fact, I already know how it factors. You know how I knew how it factored that way? Because I'm going to take half of a negative 4 and I'm going to get a negative 2. And that's going to go right there. But I've still got to do the other steps here where I square it and I add it to both sides. When I square a negative 2, I actually get positive 4. So plus 4 here, plus 4 there. Negative 2 and 4 makes 2. Opposite of squaring has always been square rooting. So x minus 2 is plus or minus the root of 2. When I add 2 to both sides, I'll have 2 plus root 2, or I'll have 2 minus root 2. So it wasn't a bad problem. It wasn't bad at all. I'm actually going to do 20 out of order. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2 first. Steps 1 and 2 are completely interchangeable. Doesn't matter when you do them. And to save a little room, I'm going to go ahead and shift what would have been a positive 10 to the right to make it a negative 10. This one will have imaginary answers. Big whoop. You've heard of them, right? Take half of 4, you get 2. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just following these 8 steps that I memorized a long time ago. And since I got a 2, I automatically know that it factors as x plus 2 all squared. But I still have to square the 2 and add it to both sides. So I'm going to have a negative 6 on the right-hand side. Take my square roots. All I can tell you about the root of a negative 6 is that it is plus or minus the imaginary root of 6. And I'm going to have to take away 2 from both sides. So x is going to be negative 2 plus the imaginary root of 6. Or it's going to be negative 2 plus the imaginary root of 6. Sorry, not plus, minus. By the way, those are complex conjugates of each other. That's actually how I just corrected myself. I knew one of them had to be negative. All right. Solve using the quadratic formula. I don't know why I made number 21 the quadratic formula, because it is not the quadratic formula, 21 factors. I probably did that because I pulled these just got asked to work a gate. Oh, man, that really stinks. I just got asked to work a football gate. Oh. Talk to my wife here in a minute. Anyways, this is probably just an easy question for kids to get, because some kids can't do anything but the quadratic formula. I'm just going to plug into this thing. X would be opposite b, so 8 plus or minus square root of 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 15, all sitting over twice a 1. Doing a little work inside the radical, I'm going to have 64 minus 60, which is 4. Both pieces over at 2. I'm going to have 4 plus or minus, the root of 4 is 2, 2 over 2 is 1. So x is 5, or x is 3. 22 is next. This thing has to be put in standard form. 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 is 0. Hit it with the quadratic formula. This would actually factor as well. It would factor. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, if these are my answers, it actually factors like this. Change signs when you enter. That's how it actually factors. I'll actually talk more about that on this one because it helps kids factor when they don't know how to factor. Opposite b would be a 7 plus or minus square root, square the 7, minus 4 times 2 times 3, over twice a 2. Do the math on the interior. I'll have 49 minus 24, the root of 25. I'm going to go ahead and put both pieces over a 4 now. This is 7/4 plus or minus the root of 25 is 5/4. All right, so now I'm going to do my math here. 7 plus 5 is 12, over 4 is 3. 7 minus 5 is 2, over 4 is a half. Now, let me show you how this factors. This factors as x minus 3. That one's obvious. To create this factor, you would need something like 2x minus 1. It makes sense here because 2x times x is 2x squared. If you're smart enough to do the zero product property in your head, I know it clicks. That's going to be that x is a half. And like I said, you can actually use the quadratic formula to help yourself factor. It takes more time, but for some kids it might be the only way to do it. I actually need to stop there so I can go take a little bit of a break, but there's 4 more, and that's how you do it, kids. I don't have time. Yeah, you do. Bits and pieces.